On a quiet ranch, frail widow Mary Whitfield looked like an easy target. Local boys mocked her, slashed her feed bags, and vandalized her home. One night, they went too far, storming her porch, laughing at her cane, and claiming, "This dump's ours now." Mary gave a calm warning, "Leave now." When they knocked her cane away, she didn't stumble. She revealed a sniper rifle hidden under her shawl. With a steady grip, she fired one shot. A bottle 50 yards away exploded into shards. The boys froze. Their smirks turned to terror. Mary's voice cut through the silence. "Next time you step foot on my ranch, you won't walk back out." They fled into the night, leaving behind their arrogance, and learning a lesson they'd never forget. If you are enjoying the stories, please take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel. And now, let us begin the complete story. In the quiet, sunlit meadow of a ranch in rural America, Ananya Sato Whitfield sat on her porch, nursing an old oak tree. The rustling leaves swayed underfoot and birds chirped melodiously as she gazed out over the sprawling expanse before her. However, this peaceful moment was shattered by the sound of footsteps approaching from the distance. As soon as they heard their laughter, Ananya Sato's heart raced with anticipation. She knew that tonight would be the night when the boys who had targeted her wouldn't find a place to hide. They were on a mission, one where she, alone and vulnerable, stood at the threshold between life and death. Despite the chill in the air and the darkness stretching as far as the eye could see, Ananya Sato remained vigilant. She knew that if they crossed their path once more, her warning would be met with swift, deadly blows. But today was different. Today, she was armed to protect herself and those who loved her. As she stood, examining the group of boys with a steely gaze, she noticed something unusual in one particular boy's attire, a pair of dark sunglasses covering his eyes. She hesitated for a moment before turning to him and saying, "What are you doing out here at this time?" The boy sneered, rolling his eyes playfully, as he replied, "I saw the sign outside that says, 'Welcome to our dump,' and thought it would be fun to mess with some cows." Ananya Sato's blood ran cold. She knew she had stumbled upon a dangerous game plan by one of her neighbors. It was time for a showdown. With an urgent call to action in her heart, Ananya Sato pulled out her sniper rifle from under the shawl and prepared herself. As the boys approached the porch, their laughter grew louder and more menacing. They lifted up a small wooden beam that hung from the door frame, grinning mischievously at each other as they aimed for Ananya Sato's life. But just when it seemed like all hope was lost, an unexpected twist occurred. The boy who had been laughing suddenly stopped his attack and turned to face her with a glint of fear in his eyes. "You won't walk back out," he warned before lunging forward, striking Ananya Sato on the left side of her head with a powerful blow that sent her tumbling onto the ground. Ananya Sato's heart raced as she lay motionless, staring up at the boys who had just destroyed everything she stood for. She knew that their arrogance and lack of empathy would not be tolerated, no matter how many lives they took on this quiet ranch. "Get out now," Ananya Sato commanded to one boy with a shaking voice. "Leave me alone." The boy hesitated for a moment before nodding his head slowly in agreement. With a deep breath, he turned around and disappeared into the darkness, leaving behind their empty home as evidence of their malicious intent. Ananya Sato felt a surge of pride at her self-defense skills, knowing that she had stood against a group of bullies who were determined to harm her and those close to her. But more than anything, she was grateful for this moment of clarity, where she realized the importance of remaining vigilant in the face of danger. With a newfound sense of determination, Ananya Sato slowly rose from the ground and began walking towards their makeshift campsite. As she approached, she noticed that one boy had stayed behind, staring intently at her with fear in his eyes. "You're going to get out now," he growled menacingly. Ananya Sato gritted her teeth, but remained resolute. She knew that if they were caught together, it would only be a matter of time before the boys returned for more punishment. With a quick flick of her wrist, she pulled out another pair of dark sunglasses and flipped them down over his eyes to cover him up once again. As the boy hesitated, Ananya Sato spoke with a steady voice. "You can't hide forever from your past mistakes. You know who you are and what's at stake." The boy's expression hardened as he raised an eyebrow, but she continued without breaking her gaze. "I'm not afraid of you or anyone else here on this ranch. I just want to make sure that no one ever comes back like the last time." The boy's grip tightened, his breathing heavy with fear and determination. He knew that Ananya Sato was right. She had faced him head-on before, but she would never let her guard down again. "Leave now," Ananya Sato repeated firmly, brandishing her weapon at a nearby tree for cover. The boys hesitated briefly before turning their backs on her, disappearing into the darkness once more. Ananya Sato stood there, victorious in this moment of triumph over her enemies and the lessons they had learned. She knew that she would never forget what happened to her ranch and the lesson it taught about staying vigilant against those who sought to harm others. As she walked away from the scene, a sense of purpose filled her heart, knowing that she was ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. On a quiet ranch, Ananya Sato Whitfield appeared vulnerable and fragile. She was the only person on her land who had any means of defending herself against those trying to harm her. One night, they invaded her peaceful abode in full force, laughing at her cane as they approached. "This dump's ours now." With a calm warning, Ananya Sato warned them not to touch her shawl or attempt anything dangerous on the ranch. The boys' shock and disbelief were palpable. They had underestimated Ananya Sato's skill level, strength, and fortitude. As they stumbled back from the scene, their arrogance melted away in frustration. In a moment of desperation, Ananya Sato appeared at them with her rifle hidden under her shawl. She was determined to protect her friends' lives and ensure that no one would ever come back like before. The boys hesitated for a split second, but quickly followed the girl's lead into the darkness. They were aware that their actions had put themselves in danger, but they could not bear to let Ananya Sato's warning fall flat. As they fled onto the ranch, Ananya Sato stood guard at various points, her rifle positioned strategically to take out any threats she encountered. The boys felt a sense of awe as they watched her lead them through the dark shadows and dodge past dangerous obstacles. In the midst of their escape, an eerie silence hung over the land. Ananya Sato's voice echoed in their ears as she warned them not to let fear consume them. "Leave now," she said firmly, brandishing her rifle at a nearby tree for cover. "I'm not afraid of you or anyone else here on this ranch. I just want to make sure that no one ever comes back like the last time." The boys' expressions hardened as they realized that Ananya Sato was right about their potential failure to stay alert against those who sought to harm them. They had underestimated her strength, courage, and determination. As they turned around to face Ananya Sato once again, a sense of defeat hung over them. Their pride had been crushed by the girl's victory in this one small but pivotal battle. However, their resolve was not broken. A determined look crossed Ananya Sato's face as she spoke with conviction. "Leave now," she repeated firmly, brandishing her weapon at a nearby tree for cover. "I'm not afraid of you or anyone else here on this ranch. I just want to make sure that no one ever comes back like the last time." The boys' grip tightened as they realized the gravity of their situation. They had been wrong in thinking they could overcome Ananya Sato's defenses and escape without a fight. As they stumbled further into the darkness, Ananya Sato watched with satisfaction as her enemies faltered under her determined leadership. She knew that she had laid down a solid foundation for future battles against those who sought to harm others. 13. As they finally made their way back home, Ananya Sato took stock of what had just transpired and realized the importance of learning from this experience. The boys' mistakes were now her lessons in staying vigilant and prepared for any threats that may arise. 14. She decided to dedicate herself to protecting others on ranches like Ananya Sato's by providing a safe haven, offering training programs, and fostering strong relationships with local authorities. By doing so, she would ensure that no one else would ever have the chance to attack their families or communities again. 15. In her new role as leader, Ananya Sato took up the task of promoting safety measures on ranches across the country. She worked tirelessly to educate farmers and ranchers about how to protect themselves from potential threats, emphasizing the importance of being aware, prepared, and vigilant at all times. As she walked through the quiet ranch once more, her heart was filled with a sense of purpose and gratitude for this incredible opportunity to learn and grow as an individual. She knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, she would remain resolute in protecting those who were innocent from harm and ensuring their safety for generations to come. The Yindi. Global Outline. 1. A quiet ranch. A frail widow named Ananya Sato Whitfield stands as an easy target in the midst of darkness. 2. One night, they storm her porch with laughter and claim, "This dump's ours now." 3. Ananya Sato gives a calm warning to them, "Leave now." As she warns, she demonstrates how she carries a sniper rifle under her shawl, revealing its hidden presence as the boys freeze in awe. 4. The boys flee into the night, leaving behind their arrogance and learning an important lesson about staying vigilant and prepared for any threats that may arise. 5. Ananya Sato decides to dedicate herself to protecting others on ranches like Ananya Sato's by providing a safe haven, offering training programs, and fostering strong relationships with local authorities. This new role will ensure that no one else would ever have the chance to attack their families or communities again. 6. She works tirelessly to promote safety measures on ranches across the country, educating farmers and ranchers about how to protect themselves from potential threats. One of her most significant initiatives is the establishment of a national ranch safety program, which targets both domesticated animals, livestock, and wild game in order to identify patterns of attack and develop effective strategies for preventing them. 7. As she walks through the quiet ranch once more, Ananya Sato's heart is filled with a sense of purpose and gratitude for this incredible opportunity to learn and grow as an individual. She knows that no matter what challenges lay ahead, she will remain resolute in protecting those who are innocent from harm and ensuring their safety for generations to come. 8. The National Ranch Safety Program includes not only training programs, but also the provision of resources such as secure storage areas, predator control measures, and emergency response plans. These initiatives aim to prevent attacks on ranches by providing a well-rounded approach that addresses both the physical and psychological aspects of protecting animals. 9. As Ananya Sato takes charge of promoting safety measures in her new role, she works closely with local law enforcement agencies to identify potential threats and develop targeted strategies for preventing them. She enlists the help of experienced ranchers who can provide valuable insights into their respective ecosystems and wildlife populations. 10. By fostering strong relationships with these communities, Ananya Sato helps to build trust and understanding between farmers and ranchers, making it easier to implement effective safety measures. This not only prevents attacks, but also encourages collaboration in the pursuit of sustainable agriculture practices that benefit both humans and animals. 11. As an advocate for the National Ranch Safety Program, Ananya Sato works tirelessly to raise awareness about the importance of staying vigilant and prepared at all times. She shares her knowledge with local leaders, ranchers, and community members through seminars, workshops, and educational materials. 12. Her message is simple but powerful. Protect your family, protect your animals, and protect yourself from harm. By taking proactive measures to safeguard the lives of those they love, Ananya Sato empowers others to do the same and creates a safer world for generations to come. 13. As the weeks turn into months, Ananya Sato's efforts begin to bear fruit. The National Ranch Safety Program gains momentum, with more ranchers adopting these safety practices on their own lands. She continues her work tirelessly, partnering with local organizations to provide additional resources and training sessions. 14. However, no one is immune from threats, and Ananya Sato faces several challenges in maintaining the success of the program. One such challenge involves managing a large network of ranches across multiple states while ensuring that each community has access to the same level of safety measures and support. 15. To address this issue, Ananya Sato works closely with local government officials to establish regionalized training centers where farmers and ranchers can receive hands-on instruction on various safety tactics. These centralized locations provide a one-stop shop for information, resources, and guidance, ensuring that everyone has access to the same level of preparedness. 16. In addition to providing regular training sessions, these regional centers also offer workshops and seminars focused on specific aspects such as predator control techniques, livestock health management, and emergency response protocols. This not only improves safety, but also provides valuable learning opportunities for ranchers from diverse backgrounds. 17. As the program gains momentum, Ananya Sato receives accolades from various stakeholders within the agriculture industry, including farmers, conservationists, and wildlife enthusiasts alike. These individuals recognize her dedication to protecting both humans and animals in a critical context. 18. Furthermore, the National Ranch Safety Program's success attracts attention from policymakers at local, state, and federal levels, highlighting its potential as a model for sustainable development strategies that prioritize public safety over profits. 19. Ananya Sato continues to work tirelessly on her new role, ensuring that the program remains relevant and effective in addressing the evolving threats faced by ranches across the country. She is committed not only to protecting individual lives, but also working towards creating a world where animal welfare is prioritized alongside economic growth. 20. As she looks back at the past few years, Ananya Sato feels grateful for this incredible opportunity to learn, grow, and make a positive impact on the lives of those around her. With each passing day, she continues to adapt to new challenges, using her knowledge, experience, and passion for ranch safety as an unbreakable force in protecting both human beings and the animals we all depend upon. 21. In conclusion, Ananya Sato Whitfield's story serves as a testament to the power of resilience, dedication, and community spirit when it comes to safeguarding lives and creating safer environments for our planet. Through her unwavering commitment to promoting safety measures on ranches like Ananya Sato's, she has not only empowered individuals, but also inspired countless others around the world to take action against threats that may one day threaten their homes and communities. The Yindi Global Outline * Ananya Sato Whitfield, a frail and elderly rancher in rural America, is an unlikely target of violence. She has lived on the same land for generations, raised her children here, and spent most of her life working to ensure its well-being. One fateful night, disaster struck. A severe storm swept through her town, leaving her porch battered and shattered with debris in tow. As she watched, a group of young men approached her from the shadows, laughing at their newfound wealth acquired by robbing her property. They called themselves the Boys, branding them as ruthless thieves. Ananya Sato's warning was met with skepticism and disbelief. The Boys were too quick to dismiss her concerns, dismissing their actions as harmless pranks or a way for them to claim ownership of the land they had invaded. But when one of the men reached out his hand, revealing a sleek black rifle hidden under his shawl, she knew something significant was happening. As the Boys fled into the night, Ananya Sato realized that her life would never be the same again. She had stumbled upon an unexpected weapon and discovered an enemy stronger than anyone she could have imagined. The threat of violence hung heavy in the air as they made their escape, leaving behind a trail of arrogance and self-assuredness. Days turned into weeks, and Ananya Sato continued to grapple with her new reality. Her peaceful life was shattered, replaced by fear, desperation, and a constant sense of paranoia. She watched as other ranchers were attacked, forced to defend themselves against their own property or the unknown forces that now threatened them. The community became divided, with some advocating for stricter laws and enforcing existing regulations, while others saw it as an infringement on personal freedom. Ananya Sato was a recent graduate of a renowned law school when she stumbled upon this harrowing incident. As part of her research project, she delved into the complexities of animal welfare and its intersection with ranch safety. She quickly realized that the Boys were not just random criminals. They had deep roots in the local community, with ties to powerful economic interests. With a renewed sense of purpose, Ananya sought out the help of like-minded individuals who shared her passion for protecting both human lives and wildlife. Together, they formed an advocacy group called Raptors Haven, dedicated to promoting animal welfare on ranches across the country. Their mission was simple but ambitious: to raise awareness about the importance of responsible livestock management practices, educate local communities on the risks posed by wild animals, and advocate for stronger regulations that enforced accountability. As Ananya and her team began their efforts, they faced numerous obstacles. Ranchers were resistant to change, with many clinging to outdated farming techniques and beliefs in which wildlife was seen as pests or threats. But Ananya's determination was unwavering. She worked tirelessly to educate ranchers on the devastating effects of habitat loss, poaching, and other forms of wildlife trafficking. Alongside her team, Ananya also faced internal challenges within Raptors Haven. Some members were skeptical of their cause, believing that promoting animal welfare would be a costly investment in the short term. Others struggled with personal demons related to past trauma or the loss of loved ones who had been preyed upon by the Boys. Despite these obstacles, Ananya refused to give up on her mission. She knew that every successful advocacy effort counted, no matter how small it may seem. Her unwavering commitment inspired others within Raptors Haven, and their collective efforts began to make a difference. The community started to see the benefits of responsible livestock management practices in action. Ranchers were more aware of the impact their actions had on wildlife populations, leading to an increase in predator population numbers and reduced conflicts with native species. In turn, ranching operations became safer for both people and animals, as they learned to coexist in harmony. As Raptors Haven continued its efforts, Ananya faced a new challenge: the threat of political interference from those who sought to exploit the issue for their own gain. The farm lobby was strong, with politicians using rhetoric that portrayed ranching as an economic burden or a way to disrupt natural ecosystems. Despite these obstacles, Ananya remained steadfast in her commitment. She met with local leaders and policymakers on multiple occasions, presenting evidence of the positive impacts of responsible livestock management practices on rural communities and wildlife populations. Through her speeches and outreach efforts, she highlighted the importance of sustainable agriculture and the role that ranchers play in preserving natural ecosystems for future generations. Her message resonated with many, including influential politicians who began to take notice. As a result, Raptors Haven gained more support from policymakers across the country, leading to policy changes aimed at protecting wildlife and promoting responsible livestock management practices on federal lands. The success of Raptors' efforts was evident in countless victories for animal welfare advocates and ranchers alike. Ranching operations began implementing new farming techniques that minimized harm to wildlife while improving their overall well-being. Meanwhile, local communities learned valuable lessons about the importance of community involvement, cooperation, and collaboration in promoting sustainable agriculture. Ananya's story serves as a testament to the power of resilience, dedication, and community spirit when it comes to safeguarding lives and creating safer environments for our planet. Through her unwavering commitment to protecting animal welfare on ranches like Ananya Sato, she has not only empowered individuals, but also inspired countless others around the world to take action against threats that may one day threaten their homes and communities. The Yandi. Task. Continuation of story. 1. As Raptors Haven continued its efforts in advocating for responsible livestock management practices on federal lands, Ananya and her team received a major setback when they discovered the existence of a powerful underground network dedicated to poaching wildlife from ranches across the country. The group knew that their work was not enough to stop these criminals, but it was an essential step towards exposing their activities and bringing them to justice. They delved deeper into the web of illegal trade, interviewing former employees and witnesses who had been caught in the crossfire between the boys and ranchers. Through their research, they uncovered a complex network involving multiple criminal organizations, organized crime groups, and corrupt government officials. The criminals were using sophisticated tactics to evade detection, including bribes and even collaboration with law enforcement agencies to keep tabs on their operations. As the team continued their investigation, they discovered evidence of widespread illegal poaching activities that not only threatened wildlife populations, but also posed a significant threat to the local economy. Ranchers were forced to resort to alternative livelihoods and struggled to make ends meet due to the decline in livestock sales and increased costs associated with protecting endangered species. The situation became even more dire as they uncovered evidence of human trafficking, where ranchers sold their animals for profit or ransom, often resulting in tragic consequences. These cases were particularly concerning given the vulnerability of wildlife populations that relied on these animals for survival. 2. To address this growing threat, Ananya and her team decided to launch a global campaign. Working with local law enforcement agencies, conservation organizations, and community leaders to dismantle the underground network and bring its perpetrators to justice. They organized multiple awareness-raising campaigns aimed at raising public consciousness about illegal wildlife trafficking and promoting responsible livestock management practices. Through social media platforms, they reached out to individuals across the globe who had been caught in the web of criminality or witnessed illegal activities firsthand. They also collaborated with international organizations that specialized in combating wildlife crime, including intergovernmental agreements and partnerships between law enforcement agencies on both sides of the border. These collaborations provided valuable resources for tracking down criminals and sharing intelligence about their operations across borders. In addition to targeting individual criminal organizations or individuals involved in illegal trafficking, Ananya and her team also focused on educating farmers and ranchers on sustainable livestock management practices that would help them protect wildlife populations while ensuring economic sustainability. They worked with local agricultural extension offices, providing training sessions on best practices for responsible grazing, crop rotation, and habitat restoration to promote a more holistic approach to farming. These efforts not only helped reduce the impact of illegal poaching, but also contributed to improving livestock health and productivity, which in turn boosted farmers' income. The campaign's success was evident in increased cooperation between law enforcement agencies across borders and local communities. As they began dismantling the underground network, they uncovered evidence of reduced trafficking activity, more robust reporting systems, and improved public trust in wildlife conservation efforts. 3. With their work on illegal poaching and human trafficking leading to a significant reduction in these threats, Ananya's team continued their efforts towards promoting responsible livestock management practices on federal lands. They also worked with ranchers who had successfully implemented sustainable farming techniques and were now able to maintain healthy wildlife populations without resorting to harmful practices. These successful examples served as role models for the rest of the community, inspiring others to adopt similar approaches and making a positive impact in their own lives. The team continued its efforts to advocate for stronger regulations that enforced accountability and held those responsible accountable for illegal activities. They worked with policymakers at all levels of government to introduce new global outline. Ananya Sato Whitfield, a frail widow with an uncanny ability to evade danger and protect her family's ranch in the remote American, was subjected to a relentless attack by 4 masked men on one fateful night. The gang had made their presence known after they snuck into her porch, laughing at her cane as if it were nothing more than a prop, before demanding that she hand over $50,000 in cash. Ananya Sato's calm voice and quick thinking served as the last straw for the gang members. They had been foolish enough to believe their bravado would intimidate her into giving up the money or revealing their true identity. Instead, they found themselves cornered on a narrow porch with nowhere else to run. The boys' eyes widened in shock as Ananya Sato revealed that she was hiding a sniper rifle under her shawl. Their faces turned cold as they realized the magnitude of their mistake and the danger they had put herself and others in. The attack left them shaken, but Ananya Sato refused to be intimidated by their threats. She stood tall, holding onto the gun tightly, while maintaining a level head and speaking with grace and determination. "Leave now," she said firmly. "I am not going anywhere until you leave me alone." The boys hesitated for a moment before nodding in agreement. They had expected her to be more submissive or compliant given their initial assessment, but they were surprised by Ananya Sato's assertiveness and resilience. As the group stepped back into the darkness, they couldn't help but feel a pang of regret for their earlier actions. The boys' retreat was short-lived as an unseen force emerged from under the shawls, wielding the rifle with deadly precision. They aimed at Ananya Sato just behind her head, their faces twisted in anger and fear as she prepared to defend herself. However, it wasn't until they saw the look of confusion etched on Ananya Sato's face that they realized something was off. The woman had clearly been expecting them, but now she seemed almost surprised by their sudden appearance. "Who are you?" she asked with a hint of disbelief in her voice. The boys exchanged quick glances before stepping back from the line of fire and turning to confront her directly. "We're just ordinary men who happen to be on our way home," one of them replied, his face serious. "Your family has been targeted for their farm's illegal poaching operations." Ananya Sato's eyes widened in shock as she realized that they had stumbled upon a crime spree unlike anything she had ever seen before. The gang members had infiltrated her ranch not only to steal the money, but also to carry out an elaborate plan to eliminate her husband and children, all of whom were involved in the illegal poaching operation. "And who are you?" Ananya Sato demanded again, her voice rising with anger as she prepared for a confrontation. The boy standing next to him hesitated before speaking. "We're just ordinary men," he replied, his voice low but steady. "But we have been hired by your husband's friends and neighbors to disrupt the poaching operation in their fields." Ananya Sato's heart sank at the revelation that her husband was involved in such a dark criminal enterprise. The thought of losing him forever filled her with overwhelming despair as she realized how much they would have lost if he hadn't gone missing. "You're lying," Ananya Sato spat out, her voice shaking with anger and frustration. "My husband is innocent. He's been working to protect the land for generations." The boy looked at her with a mix of sadness and determination. "I know what you mean," he said softly, his eyes filled with empathy. "But we had no choice but to follow orders from those who were behind this operation. Your family was in grave danger, so we couldn't let them go unaided." Ananya Sato's tears began to roll down her face as she realized the gravity of the situation. The men they faced not only threatened their lives, but also posed a threat to her husband and his entire community. She knew that she had no choice but to take matters into her own hands. "You have my family's trust," Ananya Sato said, her voice firming up. "Please don't harm them." The boy hesitated for a moment before speaking in a deep tone of reassurance. "We understand your position, and we will not hurt anyone else during this process. We only want to bring the criminals responsible to justice and restore peace to your community." Ananya Sato's heart swelled with gratitude as she realized that there was still hope for her family, even if it came at great cost. The men were led away by their handlers, who had been watching from a distance. As they walked towards the gates of Ananya Sato Whitfield's ranch, each boy could feel a sense of relief wash over them, knowing that justice had finally been served and that their efforts had not gone to waste. ****, the rest of the story follows this pattern. The group, led by Ananya, a skilled detective with experience in wildlife conservation and law enforcement, investigates Ananya Sato Whitfield's ranch for signs of illegal poaching activity. As they delve deeper into the case, they uncover a complex network of criminal organizations operating in the region, including her husband's friends and neighbors who had been hired to disrupt his farm's operations. As Ananya delves into the investigation, she discovers that Ananya Sato Whitfield's family is not just targeted by poachers, but also involved in a wider criminal enterprise involving human trafficking. The gang members have infiltrated her ranch, posing as legitimate hunters and farmers, but their true intentions are to eliminate her husband, who has become an unlikely hero for his work fighting against illegal logging. The team discovers that Ananya Sato's husband is innocent of the charges he faces related to the poaching operation and that he had been working tirelessly to protect the land and its wildlife. They confront him with this information and demand a full explanation from those involved in the criminal enterprise, including his friends and neighbors who had betrayed him. The gang members are initially resistant to Ananya's demands for their own innocence, but eventually come clean about their involvement in the poaching operation. They confessed that they were hired by Ananya Sato's husband's friends and neighbors to carry out a plan to eliminate her husband from the community, knowing that if he was caught, it would damage his reputation and potentially harm the livelihoods of those around him. Ananya works tirelessly with the local authorities to gather evidence against the gang members involved in both poaching and human trafficking. They work closely with Ananya Sato's family to establish a solid case file and present them before a court of law, hoping that justice can finally be served for all the victims. The trial is long and grueling, but after years of intense investigation and evidence gathering, the team successfully wins convictions against the gang members in both poaching and human trafficking cases. The men are arrested and charged with various charges related to their crimes, including murder, conspiracy, and organized crime. As a result, Ananya Sato's husband is cleared of all allegations and released from prison, allowing him to return home and rebuild his life without fear of retribution or harm from the people he had once trusted so deeply. The local authorities also work with Ananya Sato's family to restore their farm to its former glory, implementing sustainable farming techniques that promote healthy wildlife populations while ensuring a livelihood for all involved. The story concludes with an echo of hope and renewal in the small American community as the gang members are brought to justice and those who were affected by their actions are able to move forward with renewed faith. The team's efforts have not only helped restore peace, but also inspired others to take a stand against injustice and work towards creating a more sustainable future for all. Throughout this story, Ananya has used vivid sensory details and natural dialogue to bring the world of crime and poaching into stark reality, allowing readers to feel immersed in the tension and danger that Ananya Sato Whitfield's ranch faced. The characters are well-developed and complex, each with their own motivations and desires, which drives the plot forward and keeps readers engaged. The story also highlights the importance of collaboration between law enforcement agencies across borders and local communities, as well as the role of responsible livestock management practices in reducing illegal poaching activities. Ananya's team has successfully dismantled a network of criminal organizations operating in the region, but their work is not complete, as they continue to advocate for stronger regulations that enforce accountability and hold those responsible accountable for illegal actions. Ultimately, this story serves as an important reminder about the power of community action against injustice and the importance of taking responsibility for one's actions. By working together and standing up for what is right, we can create a safer world where everyone has access to fair treatment and equal opportunities, regardless of their background or status. As Ananya reflects on the case, she feels proud of her team's accomplishments, but also deeply saddened by the toll it took on Ananya Sato Whitfield's family. She knows that they will never fully recover from the loss of her husband and children, who were taken away too soon due to their involvement in illegal activities. But through this experience, Ananya has learned valuable lessons about resilience, courage, and the power of community. Global outline. On a remote, peaceful ranch in the heart of Oregon's Willamette Valley, Ananya Sato Whitfield sat alone on her porch, lost and vulnerable. Her once charming exterior had been shattered by tragedy. She'd lost everything she held dear to her family, including her husband, son, daughter-in-law, and beloved dog. One fateful night, a violent storm swept through the area, leaving an eerie silence in its wake. Ananya Sato's heart pounded as she listened to the howling winds and pounding rain outside. As the storm raged on, she couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching her from the shadows. Suddenly, two men appeared out of nowhere, laughing derisively at their prey. "This dump is ours now," one of them growled, his voice low but menacing. Ananya Sato's eyes widened in fear as they approached her porch, their faces contorted with a mixture of anger and intimidation. "Get out now," she shouted, reaching for the sturdy cane that hung from the banister. The men hesitated for just long enough to strike, sending Ananya Sato tumbling onto the ground. They quickly grabbed the cane and advanced towards her, brandishing it menacingly in their hands. As they approached, Ananya Sato's heart pounded with fear, but she refused to back down. "Leave now," she repeated sternly. The boys froze, unsure of what was happening. They had never seen anyone like Ananya Sato before, a woman who could defend herself without hesitation and hold her own against two heavily armed men. In that moment, they realized the gravity of their mistake. They had underestimated Ananya Sato's strength and resilience, not knowing that she held an arsenal of weapons hidden beneath her shawl. The boys hesitated for just long enough to strike again, this time with more force, but it was too late. Ananya Sato lunged forward, hitting them both in the face with a sudden blow. As they stumbled back, their hands and faces covering with blood and bruises, they realized that they had unleashed something far worse than any criminal organization could have hoped for. The air crackled with danger as they turned to flee into the night, leaving behind a trail of destruction that would haunt them forever. Ananya Sato's home was now in ruins, her family's lives shattered beyond repair by their involvement in illegal activities. They had lost everything, their home, possessions, and even the love of their family. The storm had destroyed every aspect of their world, leaving only memories of a time when life was simpler and more peaceful. As she sat on the porch that once held her comfort and security, Ananya Sato couldn't shake the feeling that something needed to be done to prevent such incidents from happening again. She knew that there were powerful forces at work in this region, manipulating people for their own gain, without regard for the law or human life. That's where Ananya Sato Whitfield came into play. A local detective with a passion for justice and a commitment to fighting against illegal activities, she had always been drawn to Ananya Sato's story. With her sharp mind and unwavering determination, Ananya began piecing together the clues that led up to this moment. It all started when Ananya received anonymous tips from concerned citizens who reported sightings of stolen firearms in the region. Initially, Ananya dismissed these reports as mere hoaxes or rumors, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. She spent countless hours investigating the leads and interviewing witnesses, gathering evidence to support her theory. As she delved deeper into Ananya Sato's story, Ananya discovered a network of criminal organizations operating in the region, each involved in various illegal activities such as poaching, drug trafficking, and weapons manufacturing. The main suspects were high-ranking officials within these organizations, who had been using their power and influence to manipulate others for personal gain. With her team on the ground, Ananya's investigation led them to a series of raids, uncovering evidence that confirmed their suspicions about the criminal activities taking place in Ananya Sato's home. They found firearms, cash, and other valuable items hidden beneath the walls, all belonging to members of the criminal organizations involved in illegal transactions. The team also discovered that many of these individuals were heavily armed, with weapons-grade assault rifles, automatic weapons, and even rocket launchers. These weapons had been obtained through corrupt officials' connections or stolen from legitimate sources, making them a formidable force on the battlefield for both sides. Ananya's investigation revealed not only the scope and scale of the criminal networks, but also their tactics. They used sophisticated surveillance techniques to monitor Ananya Sato's movements, leaving no stone unturned in their pursuit of justice. They discovered that these organizations had developed an intricate system of communication and coordination, allowing them to move quickly and efficiently without being detected. As Ananya pieced together this complex web of criminal activity, she realized the gravity of her situation. The consequences were far-reaching, not only for Ananya Sato's family, but also for the entire region, as their involvement in illegal activities had exposed a Pandora's box of corruption and abuse of power. In that moment, an unlikely ally emerged: Sofia Nyberg Talia Valdez, a local businessman who had always been against illegal activities and believed in upholding the law. With his deep knowledge about the criminal underworld and his connections to corrupt officials, he saw an opportunity for redemption and began working with Ananya's team to dismantle these organizations. Together, they formed a powerful alliance, pooling their resources, skills, and expertise to bring down the criminal networks at their core. They targeted key members of each organization, engaging in high-stakes confrontations that left few survivors on the battlefield. In one particularly brutal raid, Ananya's team managed to take out several armed guards and capture a heavily armed suspect who had been responsible for most of the stolen firearms found during the investigation. The suspect was later sentenced to life imprisonment, but it didn't come without consequences. His family was left in shambles as he struggled to rebuild their lives after years of being hunted down by the criminal organizations. As Ananya reflected on the case, she felt proud of her team's accomplishments and deeply saddened by the toll it took on Ananya Sato's family. She knew that they would never fully recover from the loss of her husband and children, who were taken away too soon due to their involvement in illegal activities. But through this experience, Ananya had learned valuable lessons about resilience, courage, and the power of community. In a small but poignant tribute, Ananya Sato's family held a gathering at her home, surrounded by friends and neighbors who came out to support them during this difficult time. They shared stories from their past, tears streaming down their faces as they remembered the loss of their loved ones. But in that moment, they also celebrated the bravery and determination of those who had fought against these ruthless criminal organizations, proving once again that even in darkest hour, there is always hope for a better tomorrow. As Ananya sat on her porch, contemplating the lessons she had learned from Ananya Sato's story, she realized that it was not just about stopping illegal activities, but also about creating a safer and more equitable world. She knew that justice could only be achieved through collective action, where individuals come together to fight against injustice and work towards a brighter future. With this mindset in mind, Ananya founded an organization called Operation Resilience, dedicated to empowering communities like the one she had discovered on Ananya Sato's ranch. Their mission was to provide education, support, and resources to those who were impacted by illegal activities, helping them rebuild their lives and reclaim their right to a fair share of society. As Ananya looked out over the breathtaking landscape that surrounded her, she felt a sense of pride in her work and determination in creating change. The storm had left nothing but memories of resilience, courage, and hope for a better tomorrow, and it was up to all of us, individuals like her, community leaders, and ordinary citizens alike, to carry this legacy forward. Global outline. 1. On a quiet ranch, Ananya Sato Whitfield appeared to be an easy target. 2. The boys had gone too far by storming her porch and laughing at her cane, stating, "This dump's ours now." 3. Despite their arrogance, Ananya Sato remained calm and warned them of leaving. 4. As the boys knocked over her cane, they discovered a hidden sniper rifle under her shawl. 5. They froze in fear as she revealed that it was not just about stopping illegal activities, but also about creating a safer and more equitable world. 6. With this mindset in mind, Ananya Sato founded Operation Resilience, or an organization dedicated to empowering communities like Ananya Sato's by providing education, support, and resources to those who were impacted by illegal activities. 7. As Or continued its work on the ranch, it was revealed that Ananya had learned from Ananya Sato's story and had realized the importance of collective action in fighting against injustice. 8. With this realization, Operation Resilience set out to create a safer and more equitable world for all communities by empowering individuals with knowledge and skills to take an active role in their own safety and well-being. 9. Or worked closely with local authorities, community leaders, and other stakeholders to identify the root causes of illegal activities on the ranch and develop effective strategies to address them. 10. Through education programs that focused on self-defense, crime prevention, and legal awareness, or helped Ananya Sato's family rebuild their lives after they were threatened by the boys' actions. 11. In addition to providing training in these areas, Or also provided emotional support and counseling services for those who had been affected by the incident, helping them cope with trauma and regain a sense of purpose. 12. The ripple effect of Operation Resilience extended beyond Ananya Sato's family on the ranch, as it inspired other communities to take action against illegal activities in their own areas. This led to increased cooperation between local law enforcement agencies, community organizations, and private sector partners, ultimately resulting in a more collaborative approach to combating crime. 13. As Or continued its work, Ananya realized that justice could only be achieved through collective effort rather than individual efforts alone. To ensure that the victims of illegal activities were heard and their rights protected, she led the development of a comprehensive legal framework for addressing these issues in conjunction with local governments. 14. The legal framework was designed to provide clear guidelines on the types of offenses and penalties associated with illegal activities, as well as alternative dispute resolution mechanisms such as mediation, arbitration, or non-binding court proceedings. This ensured that victims could understand their rights and options when dealing with law enforcement agencies or other stakeholders involved in addressing illegal activities. 15. The legal framework also emphasized the importance of community-based solutions, involving local residents and organizations to identify vulnerabilities and develop effective strategies for preventing crime from occurring in the first place. 16. By focusing on these interconnected aspects of justice, Or was able to create a more inclusive and holistic approach that took into account not only addressing individual criminal activities, but also addressing broader societal issues such as poverty, inequality, and lack of access to resources. 17. In addition to providing legal support and education, Or worked closely with community-based organizations to establish partnerships that focused on promoting social cohesion, fostering a sense of belonging, and encouraging economy. See development in the affected areas. 18. These initiatives not only helped rebuild communities by improving their infrastructure, healthcare services, and access to job opportunities, but also provided individuals with new skills and resources for personal growth and self-sufficiency, reducing crime rates and improving overall well-being within these communities. 19. As Or continued its work in the long term, it became clear that justice was not a one-time event. Rather, it was an ongoing process of continuous learning, adaptation, and collaboration. Ananya recognized that progress required sustained effort and commitment from all stakeholders involved, including local governments, law enforcement agencies, private sector partners, and community members. 20. With this mindset in mind, Or launched the Resilience for All initiative, a comprehensive program designed to empower individuals with disabilities and marginalized communities by providing education, support, and resources to help them overcome barriers and build resilience in the face of adversity. 21. The Resilience for All program offered various programs such as vocational training, employment opportunities, mentorship programs, counseling services, and disability advocacy initiatives to address the unique needs of individuals with disabilities within communities that had been impacted by illegal activities. 22. By addressing these complex issues head-on, Operation Resilience not only helped Ananya Sato's family, but also inspired a broader community movement towards inclusivity, equality, and social justice for all members of society. 23. As OR continued its work in the years to come, it became evident that every individual had their own story to tell about how they were impacted by illegal activities on their respective ranches or communities. With this collective understanding, Operation Resilience was able to leverage diverse perspectives and expertise to create more effective strategies for preventing crime and promoting a safer future. 24. The legacy of resilience extended beyond the lives of Ananya Sato Whitfield, Ananya Sato, and others who had been affected by illegal activities on their respective ranches or communities. It inspired individuals from all walks of life to take action against injustice, fostering a sense of pride in their own efforts towards creating safer and more equitable societies for all. 25. Operation Resilience's work not only saved lives, but also contributed to the broader global fight against crime and inequality by demonstrating that collective action can lead to lasting change and transformation within communities facing adversity. As Ananya Sato's story continued to inspire others, it became clear that every individual had a role in shaping their own legacy of resilience and making a positive impact on the world around them. 26. In conclusion, Ananya Sato Whitfield's peaceful warning against the boys' antics served as a stark reminder of the importance of collective action in combating illegal activities and creating safer communities for all members of society. With Operation Resilience at its core, Ananya Sato's story continued to inspire individuals like her, community leaders, and ordinary citizens alike to take an active role in shaping their own destinies and making a positive impact on the world around them. As the global landscape shifted towards inclusivity, equity, and social justice for all, Operation Resilience remained at the forefront of this ongoing struggle, ensuring that every individual had access to the resources, support, and opportunities they needed to overcome obstacles and build resilience in the face of adversity. Task: continue the story of Ananya Sato Whitfield's journey towards resilience, including her efforts to empower communities with knowledge and skills for self-defense, crime prevention, and legal awareness. Include a comprehensive legal framework that addresses illegal activities and provides alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. In this section, focus on 1. The development and implementation of the legal framework. 2. Ananya Sato Whitfield's role in empowering individuals within her community through education and support programs. 3. The collaboration with local authorities and other stakeholders to address illegal activity issues. 4. The impact of Operation Resilience on communities across the globe /Anhorstart as the world continued to grapple with issues of crime, inequality, and social justice. Ananya Sato Whitfield was determined to make a positive impact on her community. She had always been fascinated by self-defense techniques and knew that it would be essential in protecting herself and others from harm. Recognizing the need for an educational framework to address illegal activities, Ananya became actively involved in developing and implementing a comprehensive legal framework. Ananya's vision was not just about teaching individuals how to defend themselves. Rather, she wanted to empower them with knowledge and skills that could help prevent crime and create safer communities. She began by conducting extensive research on the latest trends and best practices in self-defense techniques, including traditional martial arts, firearms training, and crisis intervention. In partnership with local law enforcement agencies, Ananya established a nonprofit organization called Resilient Strong, which aimed to provide educational programs for individuals of all ages, from children to adults. The program offered courses on topics such as crime prevention, self-defense, mental health awareness, and conflict resolution. Participants were taught skills like de-escalation techniques, street safety strategies, and how to identify potential threats before they materialized. To ensure that the legal framework was effective in addressing illegal activities, Ananya worked closely with local authorities to establish partnerships with courts, law enforcement agencies, and community organizations. She recognized the importance of collaboration between different stakeholders and advocated for a coordinated approach to crime prevention, ensuring that resources were allocated effectively towards both proactive measures like education and preventative programs, as well as reactive efforts to address crimes once they had taken place. The legal framework implemented by Resilient Strong was comprehensive and included several key components. First, it established guidelines for the use of force in self-defense situations, with a focus on minimizing harm to others while protecting oneself or another person's life. The framework outlined specific conditions under which an individual could legally use force, including when they had been attacked by someone who posed a threat to their own safety and was not provoked by them. Secondly, the legal framework established alternative dispute resolution mechanisms to address disputes between individuals or communities over criminal activities. These included mediation programs, community-based negotiation forums, and conflict resolution training for law enforcement officers. Ananya recognized that many crimes were rooted in underlying issues such as poverty, social isolation, and trauma, which could exacerbate conflicts when they became exacerbated by legal actions. To promote the use of alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, Ananya worked closely with local organizations to develop programs that provided education on these topics and offered training for law enforcement officers. These initiatives helped build trust between communities and law enforcement agencies and fostered a more collaborative approach to crime prevention. As an advocate for social justice, Ananya also emphasized the importance of promoting equity in the legal system. She recognized that many individuals who were victims of criminal activity faced significant barriers when it came to accessing effective legal representation or obtaining fair outcomes. To address this issue, Resilient Strong established a network of lawyers and judges who provided free legal services to those who could not afford them. One of Ananya's most impactful initiatives was the establishment of an online legal database that cataloged information on illegal activities and potential threats in local communities. This platform allowed individuals to easily search for relevant case studies, statistics, and resources related to crime prevention and self-defense techniques. By providing easy access to this critical information, Resilient Strong empowered residents to take proactive steps towards preventing crime and protecting themselves. In addition to education and support programs, Ananya also worked closely with community leaders and other stakeholders to address illegal activity issues on a larger scale. She recognized that many crimes were fueled by underlying factors such as poverty, lack of access to resources, and social isolation. To combat these systemic problems, Resilient Strong collaborated with local nonprofits, government agencies, and private sector organizations to develop targeted interventions. For example, Ananya worked with community centers to offer job training programs that provided individuals with the skills they needed to secure stable employment and improve their financial stability. She also partnered with local businesses to establish partnerships that offered resources such as free legal advice and support services for employees who had been victims of illegal activity. The impact of Operation Resilience on communities across the globe was significant. As a result, there were fewer violent crimes reported in many areas, leading to an overall decline in crime rates. The program also helped individuals develop self-confidence and resilience, enabling them to take control of their lives after experiencing trauma or witnessing violence firsthand. In addition to reducing crime rates, Operation Resilience played a crucial role in promoting social justice by addressing systemic issues that contributed to criminal activities. By providing education, support, and alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, Ananya's legal framework empowered individuals within her community to take an active role in shaping their own destinies and making a positive impact on the world around them. As she continued to advocate for self-defense techniques and crime prevention initiatives, Ananya remained committed to building bridges between communities and law enforcement agencies. She recognized that each individual had unique circumstances and challenges when it came to protecting themselves or others from harm, but with the right resources and support, anyone could take charge of their safety and make a positive impact on society. With Operation Resilience firmly at the forefront of her efforts, Ananya continued to inspire individuals like herself, community leaders, and ordinary citizens alike to take an active role in shaping their own destinies and making a positive impact on the world around them. By empowering communities with knowledge and skills for self-defense, crime prevention, and legal awareness, she was creating a safer and more just society that would benefit everyone who lived there. As the sun began to set on Ananya Sato Whitfield's quiet ranch, she sat at her kitchen table with a cup of coffee in hand. The peaceful evening was interrupted by the sound of footsteps approaching from behind. She quickly rose and grabbed the rifle, preparing for what could be an unexpected visitor. The door creaked open slowly, revealing two men dressed in dark suits. One of them introduced himself as Alex, one of her closest friends who had been working with Ananya on their legal framework in the area. The other man was a younger-looking figure named Ethan, a local community leader and advocate for self-defense techniques. "What brings you here?" Ananya Sato asked, keeping an eye out for any signs of panic or fear. Alex hesitated before answering, but eventually revealed that they had recently received information about illegal activities taking place on the ranch. They had noticed several strange occurrences in recent months, including a series of suspicious car break-ins and disappearances of livestock. They knew they needed to investigate further and spoke with Ananya Sato, hoping she could provide them with any leads or expertise they might need. Ananya Sato looked skeptical at first, but as Alex explained their reasoning behind the investigation, her eyes widened with excitement. She had always been an advocate for self-defense techniques and crime prevention initiatives in the area, and knew that Ananya's legal framework was a valuable tool to combat these issues. "I've worked closely with Ananya on this," Alex said, his voice softening as he spoke about their joint efforts. "We believe there may be criminal activity taking place within our community, and we need your expertise in self-defense techniques." Ananya Sato nodded in agreement, feeling grateful for the opportunity to work alongside such a dedicated advocate for justice and safety. Together, they made plans to meet with Ananya that night at her ranch's headquarters. As soon as they arrived, Ananya Sato noticed something odd about Ethan. He was dressed entirely in black, except for his shoes, which were adorned with silver links that shimmered in the dimly lit room. "Is this some sort of disguise?" Ananya Sato asked, curious. Ethan smiled and replied, yes, I have a specific plan. We need to use our knowledge of criminal activity and Ananya's legal framework to create an effective cover story for us. Ananya Sato leaned forward, intrigued by the idea of using her expertise in self-defense to help with such a complex investigation. She nodded understandingly as Alex explained their approach. We'll start by gathering information about any potential suspects, he said. We believe that some people within our community may have knowledge or connections to illegal activities on the ranch. Ananya Sato's mind raced with possibilities, and she quickly pulled out her phone to call a few trusted friends and acquaintances who had worked in criminal investigations before. As they spoke, Ananya appeared behind them, ready to assist. She listened intently as Alex explained their plan for creating a cover story, nodding along eagerly. I think you have the perfect team, Ananya Sato said, looking at both men with admiration. You know how to blend into a community and gather information without drawing suspicion. Ananya smiled, feeling pleased that her expertise was being put to good use in such an important case. She explained that they would be creating a scenario where someone had broken into the ranch while searching for illegal items or livestock, but upon discovering evidence of criminal activity, had fled the scene. This could give us valuable leads, Ananya said, looking at Alex and Ethan with confidence. The key is to make it look like an accident, Alex replied. We'll create a fake crime report that states that someone was in distress while searching for illegal items or livestock on the ranch. Ananya Sato nodded in agreement, understanding how crucial this would be to their cover story. They quickly gathered all necessary materials and began brainstorming ideas. At nightfall, they returned to Ananya Sato's ranch with an array of documents and evidence, including a fake crime report and photographs that depicted a man searching for illegal items during the break-in. Ananya expertly crafted these pieces to blend in seamlessly into the community's fabric, creating a believable story that would allow them to gather more information. Over dinner that night, Alex explained their next step. They would need to create a cover story around Ananya's legal framework, ensuring that it was clear and convincing for anyone who might be investigating her organization or individuals involved in illegal activities on the ranch. They spoke about how Ananya had introduced self-defense techniques and crime prevention initiatives into the community, empowering individuals with knowledge and skills for protecting themselves from harm. Those are powerful tools, Alex said, nodding his head as he looked at Ananya Sato. We need to make sure that this new legal framework is easy to understand and implement. Ananya Sato nodded in agreement, feeling proud of Ananya's dedication to using her expertise to create a safer community. She knew that with the right support and resources, anyone could take charge of their own safety and make a positive impact on society. As they sat around the table, discussing their next steps, Ananya Sato couldn't help but feel grateful for Alex and Ethan's collaboration in this crucial case. They had helped her uncover a dangerous criminal activity within her community, while empowering individuals with knowledge and skills to take an active role in shaping their own destinies and making a positive impact on society. With the storm brewing outside, she knew that they were off to a great start. As they prepared for the next day's gathering at Ananya's ranch headquarters, she couldn't help but feel grateful for the opportunity to work alongside such dedicated advocates for justice and safety. And as the sun set over her quiet ranch once again, Ananya Sato Whitfield felt confident in their ability to tackle this dangerous criminal activity and create a safer future for all who live there. Ending global outline. Ananya Sato Whitfield, a frail widow on a quiet ranch in the heart of rural America, stands at the edge of her porch, surrounded by rustling leaves and distant crickets. The night is clear and calm, with just enough moonlight to illuminate her shawl-draped body as she gazes out into the dark expanse beyond. Just moments earlier, a group of men had stormed Ed Ananya Sato's home, laughing at her cane as they claimed it was now their domain. They were armed with a shotgun, rifles, and other weapons, their faces twisted in anger and determination. As they approached the porch, one of them shouted, "This dump is ours now." Ananya Sato remained calm but firm, refusing to give up without a fight. She spoke from behind her shawl, warning the men that she was not afraid. "Leave now," she said firmly. "You can't make me leave this house." The men laughed and continued towards her, their faces twisted in triumph. As they approached Ananya Sato's door, one of them grabbed her cane with both hands and shook it menacingly before launching a shot at the ground. A loud thud echoed through the quiet night as the cane shattered against the pavement, sending debris flying into the air. The men turned to face each other, their faces twisted in anger. Suddenly, Ananya Sato's hand reached out behind her shawl, where she had hidden a small black box under it. She pulled it out with surprising agility and pointed at one of them, demanding that he reveal his identity. "I know who you are," she said firmly. "You're the man I've been looking for." The men were taken aback by Ananya Sato's sudden revelation, their faces turning pale as they realized that they had played a dangerous game. They tried to back down and flee into the night, but it was too late. As they ran through the streets of town, their voices echoed in the distance, warning anyone who might hear them of their plan. But when they reached an abandoned building on the outskirts of town, they found themselves cornered by a group of armed men led by a tall man with piercing blue eyes and a menacing presence. The men were surprised to see Ananya Sato standing before them, her hand still holding that small black box in front of her face. They hesitated for a moment, unsure if she was trustworthy or just playing tricks on them. But as they looked into each other's eyes, something deep inside of them began to change. One by one, the men revealed their true identities and motives. Some were former members of law enforcement agencies. Others had been victims of domestic violence. Still others had lost loved ones in a violent crime. As they spoke, their faces twisted with anger and betrayal as they realized that Ananya Sato was not just any old woman. She was someone who knew them from the inside. "We've been watching you," one man growled, his voice laced with hatred. "You're the mastermind behind this dangerous criminal activity in our community." The men hesitated for a moment more before launching another round of shots at Ananya Sato and her group, their weapons clashing against the brick walls as they tried to defend themselves. But it was no use. Ananya Sato's hand had already reached out again behind her shawl, where she held an even larger black box. She pulled it out with surprising agility once more, revealing a gun that belched smoke and fired in a powerful burst of gunfire at the men around them. The men were caught off guard by Ananya Sato's sudden attack, their faces going into shock as they realized what had just happened. They tried to flee again, but their attackers quickly followed them, guns drawn and ready for battle. As the bullets rained down on the abandoned building, Ananya Sato and her group fought back with all their might, using their weapons against the men who were closing in around them. But it was no use. They could see that the damage had been done, and the community they loved was now at risk. The men stumbled as they fell to the ground, their bodies writhing in pain and defeat as they realized that Ananya Sato Whitfield had outsmarted them once again. As she looked up into the sky, a sense of pride filled her heart as she knew that their fight against domestic violence would continue long after this dark night. In the end, it was only through sheer determination and bravery that Ananya Sato's group managed to emerge victorious from this dangerous criminal activity in their community. They had faced off against powerful enemies and emerged stronger for it. knowing that they were capable of changing their world for the better. Task: continue writing the story with the following beats. The men who attacked Ananya Sato are brought into custody by local authorities and face trial for their crimes. Ananya Sato Whitfield is hailed as a hero in the community for her bravery and dedication to promoting safe communities, earning widespread admiration from residents. As they await news of the trial's outcome, Ananya reflects on what she has learned about the criminal justice system and its flaws, determined to make changes that will ensure fairness and accountability for all victims. She becomes an advocate for mental health resources in her community, working with local therapists and organizations to provide support for those who have been affected by domestic violence or other forms of abuse. As she spends more time at the ranch headquarters, Ananya begins to develop a close bond with the boys who had helped uncover the criminal activity. She uses their skills and knowledge to train them in self-defense and crime prevention strategies, empowering them to take an active role in shaping their own destinies and making a positive impact on society. The boys become instrumental in helping Ananya Sato's group defend themselves against future attacks, using their weapons training and strategic thinking to outmaneuver the men who were closing in around them.